Section 5.2 is about if statement. Let's now look at the if statement in more detail. The if statement has the following syntax. If is a Java keyword, and then you need parentheses, and inside the parentheses you must put condition. The condition must be a Boolean expression. It must evaluate to either true or false. And there is a statement inside the if statement. So, if this condition is true, the statement is executed. If condition is false, the statement is skipped. This is a flowchart of if statement. So this means that if the condition is true, then this statement is executed. If this condition is false, then this statement is skipped. So the flow just goes like this. Here is an example. A is 10, B is 5. If A is greater than B, this case, this is true. A is 10, B is 5, so this is true. This means that this statement should be executed. So this is printed out. And this line is not related with the if statement, so this line is just printed out. This is an example from the textbook. The minor is a final data. This means that constant. And then using scanner, reads one data, that is the age. And then print out you entered data. If the entered age is less than minor 21, then use is wonderful, seeing enjoy will be printed out. If age is greater than or equal to minor, then this line will be skipped. And this line is printed out regardless of this if statement. So if the input is 15, then this is true. So use is wonderful thing enjoy is printed out. If the age is 43 is entered, then this part cannot be executed. Indentation and braces. This is important. The statement controlled by the if statement is indented to indicate that relationship. The use of a consistent indentation style makes a program easier to read and understand. The compiler ignores indentation. This is important. The compiler ignores indentation, which can lead to errors if the indentation is not correct. When the condition of if statement is true, if there are two or more statements to be executed, they must be enclosed in braces. We will see this one by example. Here is an example of indentation. A is 10 and B is 5. Then this is false. Since these three lines are indented, it seems that these three lines will be skipped because this is false. But the compiler ignores indentation. So only this line is connected to if statement, and only it is skipped. So the result is like this. These two lines are printed out. If this condition is true, and if you want to all three lines are executed, then you have to put them in braces. So if you put brace here, then if this is false, then all three are skipped. And if this is true, then all three are executed. So without braces, only one statement immediately below the if statement is executed when the if statement is true. Let's check one more time. A is 10 and B is 5. This is true, and there is a brace here. Then all three lines are executed. And this line is not related with the if statement. So this statement, this line always will be printed out. So this is the result. And if this is false, then all 3 lines inside the brace will be skipped. So only this line will be printed out. If there is only one statement to be executed when the if statement is true, then there may or may not be a brace. Here, only this statement is related with this if statement. Because we have a brace, so it is very obvious. But if there is no brace like this, then only one line will be executed by this if statement. So if there is only one line in the if statement, then you can have a brace, or you don't have to have a brace. But if there are more than 2 lines in the if statement, then you must have a brace. Now I'm going to explain if-else statement. An else clause can be added to an if statement to make an if-else statement, like this. If this condition is true, then statement 1 is executed, and this part will be ignored. If this is false, then this is ignored. Instead, else part will be executed. One or the other will be executed, but not both. This is if-else statement. We will see this example soon. This is a flowchart of if-else statement. If there is condition here, then the condition will be evaluated. If it is true, then statement 1 is executed, and then the process goes on like this. And if this is false, then statement 2 is executed, and program control goes like this. This is if-else statement. So only one of these 2 statements can be executed. Here is an example. A is 10 and B is 20. This is true. So this is if block, and this is called else block. Since this is true, if part will be executed, and then this part will be ignored. Only if or else can be executed in if-else statement. These 4 are the same. 1, 2, 3, 4 are the same. So you can write like this, or you can write brace here like this. And because there is only one statement in the if and in the else, so you don't have to write brace, and you can write like this without brace. And sometimes you can write like this. So these 4 are same if-else statement. Let's look at an example from the textbook. This is wages.java. It reads the number of hours worked and calculates wages. Here, this is the regular pay rate, and this is the standard hours in a work week. So 40 is the standard number of hours to work. At first, read the hours using scanner class, and then determine the hours is greater than 40 or not. If the number of hours worked is greater than standard 40, then this is the formula to calculate pay. And if hours is less than or equal to standard, then this is the formula for calculating pay. So depends on the hours worked, the calculation will be different. Here is if, else statement. It will look like this. There is a if statement and else if statement and else statement. As you see here, else cannot have a condition. it works like this. At first, this condition will be evaluated. If this is true, then this part will be executed. And then the rest of else if and else are all skipped. Okay, so after executed this part, then the next line will be executed, will be somewhere here out of if else statement. And then, okay, I will show next logic. Okay, so if this is false, then these statements will be skipped and evaluate this part. And if this is true, then these statements will be executed and the rest of this part will be skipped, ignored. And likewise, if this is false, then skipped here. If this is false, then skipped here. If this is true, then this part will be executed and else part will be skipped. I think now you get the idea of this one. So finally, if this is false, then skipped. If this is false, then skipped. If this is false, then skipped. Then else part will be executed finally. This is if else statement. You can have as many else if statements if you want. Here are only 2 else if, but you can have more than 2. This is an example of if else statement. The compiler reads one score, which is input data, integer data, and then determine the grade of the score. If the score is greater than or equal to 90, then grade is A. If the score is between 80 to 90, then grade is B. If the score is 70 and between 70 and 80, then the grade is C. If score is 60, between 60 and 70, then grade is D. Else the grade is F. So this part is the code for that. After reading score, if score is greater than or equal to 90, then A will be stored in grade. And then this part, all of this part will be skipped. Okay, so if score is 93, then A is printed out like this. And if the score is 88, then this is not true. This is false. So this line will be skipped. And then this will be evaluated. Since 88 is between this range, so grade will become B. And then rest of part will be ignored. Can you understand this one? And here there is only one line is related with if, and one line is related with else if, and also this one line is related with this else if. So that's why we don't have to put brace here. So if the 75, then C. 67 is D. 58 is F, and 25 is F. So I think you can understand this code. This is the same code with the previous code. This is the exactly same code with the previous one. And this code and this code are the same. It seems that this code is much simpler, right? Here, if the score is 95, then in this code, only if is true, right? Only if condition is true. If the score is 95, this is true, and this is true, this is true, also this is true. But in coding, the order is very important. So if the score is 95, then this is the first condition to be evaluated. So this is true and grade becomes A, and then skip all of these. Okay, so even if you write like this, these two codes are the same. And you can write this code simply like this. Just a statement is written besides the if condition, like this. If this is simple, then you can write like this. So the statement can be written next to the if statement. When the sentence is simple, the code looks neat. Let's look at an example that uses a class that represents a coin that can be flipped. Instance data is used to indicate which face, head or tail is currently showing. We will look to Java classes. Coin class represents a coin with two sides that can be flipped. It has two constants, head and tails, like this, heads and tails, and a variable face. When an object is created, it simulates the coin flipping using flip method. In flip method, I will explain this one. Method random can have value from 0 to 1. 1 is not included. And multiplied by 2 with a number and casting into int. This means that this expression can have 0 or 1 integer value. This is just coin flipping result. And the method is head returns boolean value. If face is 0, head is 0. So if face is 0, then return true. Right? If this is face is 0, then return true. Otherwise, it returns false. In the string method, toString method, if face is 0, then print out heads, else the face will return tails, that is 1. So this is just like coin flipping class. This is the driver class of coin class. In the main method, coin object is created. And then flip the coin. And if the result of coin flipping is head, you win is printed out, else better luck next time. So this means rules. So here we use if and else. So depending on the result of this coin flipping, if can be executed or else can be executed. Remember that indentation is for the human reader and it is ignored by the compiler. So if this is true, then this will be executed. If this is not true, then only this line will be executed. This means that this line is not included in else. So despite what the indentation implies, delta will be set to 0 no matter what. This means that this line is not related with if-else statement. Several statements can be grouped together into a block statement, delimited by braces. A block statement can be used wherever a statement is called for in the Java syntax rules. This is simple. If this is true, then these two lines will be executed. That's why if has this brace. So we can say that this is if block. The if clause or the else clause or both could govern block statements. So this is if block and this is else block. We will see Guessing.java soon. This is a code that matches the random number chosen by the computer. Using a random object generator, here random number generator. The computer randomly selects one integer number between 1 and 10. That is the answer. And the computer asks the user to guess and enter a number. So the computer will guess from the user. If the guess by the user and the random number generated by the computer is equal, this one, then this is printed out. If the two are not equal, else part, then these two lines will be executed. I run this code several times, and sometimes I got this result and sometimes I got this result. So I want you to type this code in your computer and then run this code several times. Nested if statements. The statement is executed as a result of an if or else clause could be another if statement. This means that if has another if-else statement, or else part has another if-else statement inside of it. These are called nested if statements. An else clause is matched to the last unmatched if, no matter what the indentation implies. Braces can be used to specify the if statement to which an else clause belongs. So if some if statement is complicated, then I suggest that you use brace. We will see this code soon. At first, I show you this is nested if statement. If this is true, then this if-else part will be evaluated. So this is another if-else. This is nested if. If this is false, then all of this part, this block, will be skipped. And then program control goes this else block. So this if-else will be evaluated. And this is important. Else is paired with the closest if. So this else is the pair with this if. This else is paired with this if. So if you are confused with if-else statement, if-else blocks, then make braces. This is the example from the textbook. It demonstrates the use of nested if statements. It reads 3 integer values and finds the minimum value among 3. So at first, reads 3 integers, num1, num2, num3. And then find the minimum value among these 3. To do that, it uses if-else statement. Here, nested if-else. So even if there is no brace, you can see that if this is true, then this part will be executed. And if this is false, else part will be executed. So finally, this will find the minimum value and print out. So I want you to type this code in your computer and then run several times until you understand everything.